Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you. Welcome to Speightstown Branch Libary to our public outreach event for World Alzheimer's Day. I'm Nicole Farley. I'm the Library Assistant for Speightstown Branch. And I'm also supported by Trudy Royal and Wendy Small, who will meet a little bit later. But we're happy to have you to commemorate this day because it's a problem and a situation that affects many people in Barbados. So we thought that it would be useful to provide information and also present it in a way that would be memorable for you. I first of all want to apologize on behalf of the Director of the National Library Service who wanted to be here, but unfortunately could not make it this afternoon. So she sends her apologies. I just wanted to mention as well the support of the Kiwanis Club North in Barbados, particularly Ms. Angela Goodridge, for providing support to the event as well. The dramatic presentation is called We Need to Do Something About Gran, and it's actually based on true stories that we've kind of woven together, and we would have based it on the experience of families who've gone through dementia with their family members. And following the drama, we invite you to share your thoughts, your experiences, and so on about Alzheimer's. So we have a small evaluation where we'll discuss what happened in the drama following. Okay? I'm going to introduce the actors following the drama. I think one of them is a bit nervous. But I invite you to give it careful attention. We're going to look at some of the emotions that come up in the drama following. Okay, so welcome again, and we're going to see now we need to do something about Gran. Gran? Hello? Gran?
Who's that?
Sophie?
Who?
Sophie, Gran? I'm your granddaughter.
Who's Sophie?
I'm your granddaughter, Sophie.
I ain't got a granddaughter named Sophie.
I'm your granddaughter.
I don't know you. I don't know these people always come to Gran in your house saying, I don't know her.
Shut you out? Yes, please. Sorry, forget that.
Oh, that is so annoying. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to sit on here, baby. It's going to eat. What's that here? Two fellas come in my house early saying, why know where they're going? Yeah, I had a thing to eat for the day. I'm so hungry. I don't know where them fellas gone. I know they're looking for her. Too hungry. I had a thing to eat for the day.
Grandpa, let's finish. Hello? Oh, I just how are you? Ma'am, I good. You got her your speaking. Yeah, she did. Right,
Most of the church
yeah,
says
everything.
7 o'clock this morning, it's not 2 o'clock. But should be standing time for church.
Yeah.
Should be standing time for church.
Gran. Gran. Hello. Gran. Come here, food at home, man. Gran. What is over? Gran. Hello. Gran.
Where my daughter gone? My daughter gone and left me. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen her for days. She got this little baby here with me. I don't know. She won't come back. She won't come back for her baby at all.
Justin, we need you to go there. Thank you again to our actors. Lorraine is actually the grandmother. Was played by Rondela from Kiwanis Club. And Sophie is Rondela Boyce. She's actually a volunteer at the library. She's been coming from the toddler. So we want to thank them, both of them very much for their support. What we'd like to do now, we want to have Mrs. Pauline Chandler, who's a retired nurse, and she was also responsible for organizing a carers group at the Marsby Polyclinic. So she's here today to share some of the experiences of the group, give you some tips for those of us who may be facing the situation. We can learn from the strategies that others use to cope.
My name is Pauline Chandler. Retired in 2011. Senior health assistant at Marsby Polyclinic. I was privileged to came about, I was driving a car hill one day, and I remember picking the one that lived in short days, and I picked her up on the road. And I said, how are you getting on now with your mother? And she said, oh, it's really hard. But so basically she was caring for her own family and her mother, although her brothers and sisters were assisted. And when I got back to the polyclinic, I said to my nursing colleagues, not the girls I worked with, I said, you know what, we need to do something to help people like Cecile. And then I explained that, because she had to give up her job and all of that to look after her mother. But she said, she's my mother, and I will care for her till I can no longer or till she passes. So I got back to the clinic and I ran this through. I said, you know what, we need to do something for people like Cecile. So from there, the carers support group came about. We literally would go in the GP clinic and we saw people and say, excuse me, do you have an elderly family member? Do you have somebody with special needs? Do you have somebody with Alzheimer's? Here's what we have for you. And as a result, and we kind of asked them what they would like and what day they think they could manage it. And they used to come, I think, Monday mornings once a month. And I had a nurse who was designated to manage the group. I did kind of, I buzzed in and out, but this nurse, Miss Gibbons, she did the buzzing with them. And what we did, we literally had provided an arena so that the carers could just share and vent. And some would come in very angry because of the way Daddy was last night, or they would be very tearful because they didn't know how further they can go. And one of the things we discovered, a lot of the carers were not getting cared for because they couldn't get like their pap smear appointments, the women. They couldn't go out socializing. They couldn't even do what we take for granted, go to Speightstown and walk around for 2 hours. So we kind of said to them, they all shared what they did. One person actually said, when it got too much for her, she locked him in the house and she just went on the road and back, and then she felt better. Another woman told us that she discovered she wouldn't dress her mother in her nightie. No, she wouldn't dress her in clothes. She had her in like dusters, so that if she got out of the house, somebody would say this isn't normal, and they would stop her. And I thought that was extremely clever. You wouldn't find that in a textbook anyway. So don't dress her, so that if she runs out, and then they all shared how the word they used was devious, because she said no matter how many locks, they still get through the locks. And then, of course, the other thing they didn't have was social life. The carers didn't have a social life. Their family were being cared. I must say they were all extremely caring and determined to hang on in there as long as possible. Some were men. There were men, grandsons caring for them. Another family member, one had an autistic son who was bigger than the daddy and a lot stronger. So out of that group, we also used to get guest speakers, and I remember once Clayton Springer was at that time at the head of NIB, and he actually came, and he was able to guide them to some benefits that they didn't know existed. My nurse, Nurse Gibbons, she would book the women for their pap smears, and she would say, tell me whatever time of day you can get down here, I will do it for you. Or they would come to her or ring her the night before and say, I need to have a second shot, but I can only get my sister to look after him on Tuesday at 4 o'clock. And Arlene would say, come, and I will do it. So that is really a service that is really geared to the clients. Then out of that little group, the talents came. They're gardening, and they're swapping their produce. One growing carrots, one growing cabbages, and so it went on. Then they decided to do craft and jewelry. All the nurses were buying earrings. They made earrings and jewelry and all kinds of stuff. And then they were doing makeup. Different people came in, and then they decided to offer refreshments. So somebody was good at this cake, that pudding, that pie. So then we would have an eat up as well. And then the session was officially only meant to be an hour and a half. And I think they came at 10 and 1 o'clock, they're still in the room. But one of the things that, and of course Miss Gibbons, Arlene the nurse, she also had access to her at her house. They would ring her up for whatever. And I have to say this to you, she has been retired 4 years, and she's still buzzing with many of her clients. One of them went to her wedding, including me, I went to the wedding. So what I have discovered from that is, and the literature supports it, carers need to be cared for. Another difficulty I found was to get one member of the family. The family got 6 daughters and 4 sons, and only one person doing it. So I took on the role of having to ring the family members, and Arlene would do the same. And eventually they would come on board. Because the other side of the coin is, sometimes the one who doing the caring owns mommy, and she don't want to share, right? But she don't realize how damaging that is for mommy and for herself. So then you have to say to them, you need to let go. The others are willing, but they don't want to encroach. So it was a tit for 1 and 6 for half of that. So the group ran, and unfortunately it folded up because they were renovating at Morrisfire, and the room where they met, they could no longer meet. And I believe there's a gross shortage of nurses in all the polyclinics now. They're cutting back and they're replacing public health sisters with staff nurses coming out of other institutions who are not, we are nurses, but public health nursing is different. Caring for clients in the community is different to working in a hospital. So you don't have that. I had about 8 wonderful public health trained nurses, many of them at master's level, who were teaching. Somebody did asthma, somebody did diabetes. We had so many projects going. But the reality is they don't have the staff, although they're willing. So the carers group, and even when I meet them now, they say, when we can't get our group back. But it really did wonders for the clients. So you out there, let me tell you something, in the ministries, nothing gets done if you don't want to agitate for it. The nurses and the doctors need your help. Because everybody knows what is, but if the clients do not, look at that 20,000 that marched recently. So the clinics are yours, Morris Maya is yours in your catchment area. And help the staff, help the nurses by expressing the fact that you need a service. Okay? That's my little plug for that.
Thank you. Please stay where you are for a minute. Does anyone have any questions for Chandler this time?
Ms. Chandler, what would you need at this point to start the group? Is it just a location?
Well, you see, the polyclinic was better to have it there because, let's say on the Monday morning with Miss Gibbons, the nurse Gibbons, when they come in on Monday, they will go and get the blood sugar done, they will go and get the pap smear done, so that it was like a one-stop shop. In a sense, you could say that she spoiled them, but that is what, when you are sick, you need to be spoiled. And even now, the most vulnerable of her family, she is still in touch with them.
When the person starts,
Yes, one of the things that I think would help the public is if you had some experience and education on the changes related to aging. You know how, like, I don't know if you order people, one I cooked extra sweet potatoes for tomorrow's breakfast and I couldn't find it. It was in the cupboard with the biscuits. So of course I had to cook fresh, right? And I don't think I have answered. And sometimes one day I saw the butter, my husband put the butter in where the cups, the mugs are kept. That's just a slip of the memory. But anxious, that is more extreme. You see? So I would recommend first that the community, and when I say community, I mean it's good that he is here, because, and we have males here, everybody knows we're going to have more aged, elderly people in the population. There's a shift in the population. So it means that we are going to have to deal with this, whatever we call it, issue. And I think the first point is knowledge of the features of aging. When I was at the community college, I taught public health nurses for 3 years. That was my topic, the course on aging. And one of the first ones was, what changes would you expect? We know that the vision goes, the hearing goes, but there's some subtle mental changes that go on. Because, like, for instance, one day I gave a talk in church about this, and this woman came up to me and she said, thank you, you have just made me help me with coping for my dad, because this morning he got me so mad I could have hit him. And basically it was because she didn't understand, like she said, put on this shirt and he wouldn't put it on. And if you get that situation, just leave them, it doesn't matter. It really does not matter. You see what I'm saying? Or if they refuse to eat, don't take up the spoon and try to force it. Just as no. So education on the changes, age-related changes. I would also like to see younger people having education about aging, because one of the problems I see from my work that families don't care for their elderly is our fault. We have done everything for these children. We don't even allow them to make us a cup of tea or go to the shops. So when we can no longer do it, you say that what this boy got there, you don't even help him. He doesn't know how, because he has never been taught by example. And yet I would see some young men come into Morris by 25, says my granny, and they do, and I tell you everything, they wash granny front, back, they do everything for the granny. He said, well, she raised me. My mother died when I was young, she raised me. So he clearly had the skills. So I would say to all of you over the age of 60, if you have grandchildren, involve them in the day-to-day care of, from little, like making you a cup of tea, even if it tastes awful, drink it with a smile, right? And say, like your bag over there, you can go and get it. Say, oh dear, I'm so tired. You will get my bag for me. All them little tricks. I have started doing it now when my grandchildren were here from England in July. And I did a lot of that with the 13-year-old. And he was so pleased, yes, Nanny, no problem, Nanny, I could have got it myself. But you're trying to instill in the children that they have a role to play, rather than say, let's put them in the homes, because they're not in the homes, we can't afford the homes. And let's tell you, statistically, a third of all people who go into homes are dead within 3 months, because they're so divorced from society, they're cut off, what memory they have just completely lost. Okay? And then they don't even visit them. This is another sad thing. And that's all because Granny was not precious to them growing up. So for us grannies, we must stop bailing out the children and the teenagers. We must let them stand on their own feet and do things in the house to help you, so that when you are not well, they will be able to know what goes on. Okay? That's my leading message.
I want to echo those comments as well, and also share an experience someone gave to me with her mother, who was blind and also an amputee. And a nurse actually gave her some advice, because she would put a little cot in the mother's room to sleep on the floor, so that whenever she needed help, she'd be there. And when the nurse visited, she said, what's this cot for? She said, oh, I put it there so that when Mom calls me, I'm right there. Because, don't do it. Once you've bathed her, you've fed her, find something to do. Or you will go and leave her. And that was advice from the nurse. And that's how she got into kitchen gardening. And it helped her to cope, and she was able to care for her mother in a much easier way up until she died. Because it was not easy. The mother also had dementia. Blind and amputee with dementia. So many times after working very hard, she would have bathed her, she would have fed her. When people came to visit, she would say, I need you tall, be big. And that would affect your feelings. So those that give advice about care, they know what they're talking about. We want to be around a long time to care for our family members. We have to care for ourselves. So I want to echo what you said.
But they have a tremendous amount of carers. They're almost afraid to, even if somebody says, I will come and stay for 2 days, they're afraid to take it because they feel guilty that they're being neglectful by leaving and living for themselves. And I'll tell you another thing, that I don't know if any of you got families over and away. I have. I'm the only one of my mother's children here. And what I observed, the distress some of these carers had, somebody comes over every 2 years or every 5, and they criticize everything that the in-house person is doing. Right? They criticize. And of course, the other thing is, the one says, oh, Jenny, my Jenny, I'm glad that my Jenny here. As if Susu don't in there 24/7.
Are they sending money? Well, you have the work to do.
It hurts. And I would see them at the clinic complaining and digging up and all kind of stuff. It's just foolishness, right? But my mother, and she's a sweetheart, if I really got to advise her about something, I have to ring one of my sisters in England and tell mommy this is what I want done. And that used to really upset me a lot, but I've come to terms with it. But it is a reality. And that is some of the reasons why the carers said, look, lie down with you, put her in a home. Let Jenny put her in a home if you got all this mouth. So there's a lot of issues around caring for the elderly, in dementia.
Well, we want to thank Ms. Chan. Any more questions? comments on the information provided? Yes.
I just want to give another, okay, you seem to be against
No, not against the home, because
for
they're
your
the
part,
best
you seem to
together.
be against it.
No, I'm not against it. I'm not against it. There will come a time, and sometimes you meet families that are agonizing about when to do it. And I've said this, I said, when the time is ready, you will know it. And then they'll be able to accept it better. But you see, in Barbados, I think there's a perception that the hospital is the best and the home is the best. The best place for a person, if everything else is suitable, is your own home. So if you can keep the elderly in their home with their surroundings, their routine, the family members all involved. I know families who are doing it and they're doing a wonderful job. But there's caring, not just one person. Yes? But there will come a day, but there's some people that doesn't come because there's some people say, no matter what, I am here for my mother in this hospital.
So how would you know when if the person is consistently like deteriorating and being difficult and stubborn, etc. Are you talking about right? How would you know when it's time that they?
Well, the family will be helped to know, obviously, because other people will be involved. Like the polyclinic, the psychiatrist from the polyclinic, the chief geriatrician at the Dr. Ramsey, on Rose Ramsey, who's a mind of excellent advice. You know. So, and of course, the social workers become involved. So when you have a problem like that in the family, the polyclinic has access to the geriatrician, Dr. Ramsey, who's the overall the geriatrician, geriatric care of Barbados. So he's the one who decides who goes to which hospital ultimately. And he also does private visits to do assessments. And of course the welfare department might be involved, the mental health team, there's a mental health nurse, does a clinic at the polyclinic. So it's not just one person to help the family. There's the whole team approach.
I have a sister who have Alzheimer. And my older sister, she was looking after her. After a while, we decided it was a bit too much for her, so we put her in a home. But her children, my nieces and nephews, were interested, and we found through. Mind you, they weren't helping.
No,
They were helping. I don't want my mother in a home and this, that, and the other, and can't live my mother and all of that. But that being said, we found that in the home, she wasn't doing very well. So eventually, what we did, take her out and put her back in her environment, in her house. Then her daughter moved in with her, the one who was always complaining. She was living on her own. And she thought, well, really and truly, it can't be as hard, you know? So she moved in with her, along with a 7-day carer. And I find she's a lot better now, you know? And a lot healthier, and she takes her out for walks, she takes her on the bus. And even though she got away the other day, she just turned her back, locked the door. She thought she locked the door. And when she came out, she couldn't find her. And she was in a panic running up and down the street. My girl went across the street and was sitting in the neighbor's house having a good old chat with the neighbor. But because I think she knew the neighbor, the old lady always had her door open, so she just walked in, sat there, was having herself a good time.
Because you see, sometimes the way that the families know the home is not the right place is to put them in it.
Yes.
And then sometimes within 2 weeks they're back out, and then they find other people to call, because they're not. I have to say, I used to meet a lot of mothers who couldn't do full-time jobs or didn't, but they could do a couple of days or a few hours a day within the family environment and get paid for it. And they became like part of the family, because you see, it's all about memory. So the longer they're in their environment, the memory will stay alive longer, because they're photographs, the furniture, and the neighbors and the church, people coming in. I have a cousin in a nursing home in St. James, and I don't go too often now, unless I got somebody to go. And when I go, I come and sit outside in my car and I cry every single time. I cannot drive that I have composed myself, because knowing what she was like, because a lot of these homes are just packed places to park the elderly. But if you could like walk around and say,
But my daughter she's not elderly, she's in her early 60s.
my cousin went in at 62.
Yeah.
So that's what made me cry even more, to see she was so young, she was so vibrant, and there's nothing there. But it wasn't possible to keep her at home, because her children only do care one or the other. But if it was, her memory would have stayed, I think, longer. Because there's a lot of work being done on memory studies in the elderly, so that you sit and talk with them and reminisce and bring in the albums, and they will talk you through certain situations in their lives. And that gives their lives meaning, because otherwise they sit in a room like this all day. And I can't understand why some, and I have to say some because not all the same, how some institutions cannot see that that can't be right. And the places knock a picture on the wall. You know, there are places like that, knock a picture on the wall. Yeah, you know, and they just sit there like that all day. So obviously, everything goes.
She surprised me the last time I visited her though, because when I walked in and she grabbed on and she hugged me and she cried.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, why would you cry type of thing? And she was saying, oh, I miss you, I haven't seen you for so long. But every time she sees me, it's like, I don't know the last day I've seen you. She would have seen me like 2 days. Yeah, you know, but that was very emotional because it tells me that she is still connected.
Right.
You know, in some way.
She would have lost that if she'd stayed in the home.
Yes.
And of course, if she says she doesn't want a bath, don't drag her in the bath. If she says, I've had my dinner, don't argue. So you have to go into their mindset. Whatever is there, wherever they're going, if they're going shopping and say they're shopping, you're shopping too. Otherwise, it just gets them more agitated and angry, and then you get distressed and all sorts of things. So, but it is a very difficult thing to care for.
On that point, I think Esther asked a question about aggression, because someone told me a story about their father. One of the family members was putting his shoes on for him. He also had dementia. And as he put the shoes on and tied them, he proceeded to lock his neck off. I mean, and even though he was elderly, he was incredibly strong. And it just so happened, I think the sister came in. Because basically trying to take him, and I don't know, she just came in, and at that moment I was able to save him because he really had to kind of get up. So, you know, and then there's the question of when it gets to the point that you need to do something, as your grandma spoke about, guilt. When it gets to that point where the person can actually, cause harm, what do you think about it?
And I also say, another reason why they have to go elsewhere is if the carer gets ill. You see, if the carer gets ill, you might have a little, how do you do, daughter, and a 6'6" daddy. There's a reality to see, and they're strong, because they've got no other illnesses, and many of the people with Alzheimer's got no other illnesses. So obviously with the aggression, that you need help with that, professional help. They need professional help with that. And if they get to that, because you see the thing with Alzheimer's, it's stages 1 to 4. And there's a stage when they're very, very aggressive, some, not all. But then there comes a point when, by the stage 4, they're bedbound and you're caring for them. I mean, they're obviously, you know, you need to nurture care. So they're not sitting back, they're not answering back. But the aggression, obviously, in the situation where there's a physical mix, with smack, and no other carers, you have to then obviously get involved. Because there are people who don't get it diagnosed at first, you know. They just shoulder on at home. Say, oh, that's just mommy, that's just daddy. And then there comes a point when they recognize, like when they get the aggression, that they have to call in for assistance.
Okay. Well, we want to thank Mrs. Chandler for sharing this insightful experiences, and I want to also commend her because I know community work, it takes your soul.
Loved it, I
And
loved
she
it.
loved it, yes.
Loved
But we recognize the contribution of those who volunteer, and we know that it calls for a special kind of spirit
Yeah.
to do it and to do it well. So we thank you for coming and for sharing those thoughts. Is it possible we could make your contact available for someone who might need a referral or something like that?
No, well, that's portrait, you have to go to Morris Bypass and you contact the senior health system in the first instance.
In the first instance, great.
Okay. Or consequently, you can walk in on Wednesday morning at the mental health clinic. There's a psychiatrist there, I think every Wednesday, but there's certainly at least 2 mental health trained nurses. They're general trained nurses who are trained, who have then got psychiatric training, and many of them, nearly all of them now got masters. They're highly trained and experienced.
Yeah, so if anyone is interested, I do have the number from our Spire, the senior health sister, 536-3205. 536-3205.
Only just walking on a Wednesday.
I'm walking on a Wednesday
The
morning.
mental health.
3205. Well, thank you, Ms. Chandler.
Interestingly, I'd left, I had a quarter past 3 appointment with a young lady who was pregnant, who wanted breastfeeding education. So I went, I said to her, I got from the cradle to the grave one day.
Yes, thank you.
And that was also very exciting.
Wonderful. Okay, so before we close, we want to talk a little bit about the evaluation that you were given and the drama itself. I also want to thank Mr. Paul Brown, who's present here and recorded the event for us, so that those that may not have the opportunity to see the full drama at some point in the future would be able to see it and benefit from it. So we'd like to thank you. Okay, so we need to do something about Gran. How helpful is the drama in highlighting the challenge of dementia in the family? Any thoughts on it? Before I pull out another story out of the bag. I can get you started. There was a lady from the St. Peter community. She left Barbados in the 50s and returned about 40 years later and did very well in England. And she came back, she was playing golf, she was riding a car, she bought a lovely house, and then went to the supermarket, wrote a check, and paid, and then proceeded to write another check, paid again. It was at that point her family realized we need to do something about Gran. So that story was shared with me. I kind of do a community work of sorts, so people share a lot of stories. The same grandmother, at one point I realized, her driving that stick shift is a bad idea. She had a little manual car, so they stopped her from doing that. And then she had a dog as a companion, she had one. And they decided, well, since she's diabetic, her mind is so good, we should really put the dog out of the house. Yeah, so you see, many people, you just don't know what to do, but you're trying to be helpful. So they put the little Leonie out. And so she's like, where's my dog? Where's my little dog? Where's my little dog? They're like, well, man, we told you. You don't want the dog jumping on you, scratching you with the diabetes. Oh, yes, that makes so much sense. So where's my little dog? So they realized we need to do something about her. And what they did, one of the grandchildren lived in to stay with her. And they were actually there her last illness is what took her life. She had a stroke. But it made the difference in terms of the quality of life. So in the drama, just like my friend's grandmother, Gran lived alone. Was that a good idea, do you think? Gran lived alone. In this drama, she lived alone. Was that a good idea?
To be honest with you.
I thought you brought it.
No. If not, she'd have a key. She'd have a key. So the intervention at that time is, one of us needs to give up our personal life, our space, and be there for her. And it made a difference in the quality of life because she decided, well, let's have a kitchen garden. We started growing herbs and things like that. Go MCC and buy trees. The day she died, the day she had her last stroke, they actually gone to town and bought fish and bought herbs. And she was very active, but then she just had a stroke in the kitchen and she died suddenly. So that was their intervention. I think they benefited from it. It was a mother and daughter that moved in with her, and they benefited. It taught them compassion, patience, and it's kind of humorous as well. Trying to manage her own money because she couldn't handle money, but she was still very independent. So they had some really humorous moments trying to figure out what she did with the money. So the challenge is, at what point do we intervene and say, well, they can't live alone anymore, we have to take their independence from them. And how do we balance doing that and still giving them their dignity? Because it's not our house really, is it? It's a house they built with their money, and we're coming in and treating them like they're guests. You stay there, you sit here, you do this, you do that. When they tell you, it's very difficult. So
Maybe you need to avoid that. Although you still have to carry on, although you may not get back the answers that the ones you really should be getting back. I think you need to go through some kind of mechanism that you see you are consulting them or involving them in their care.
yes, did you see that? That leads into the next question. Did you see that in the way Sophie handled the whole situation with the snapper? She put a letter in. Gran got agitated. By the time Sophie got through the window, she remembered her.
Yeah.
How do you think Sophie handled it? What did you think of her way of handling that transition from being totally unrecognizable and then suddenly she's my grandmother again? What do you think about that?
I think the fact that she was non-confrontational, and she just she knew something was wrong. She was she backed up. She said whatever scenario is what her grandmother. She played around and she worked around to do because she's going to get in the house and do what she has to do.
Yeah, it was deliberately done that way because from the experiences that person shared with me, that's the best way to cope. You think that you need to go visit your mother who's probably gone dead. That's all right. We'll go soon and carry on.
Yeah.
Carry on. Pick up and carry on. Okay. About the information itself, how do you think we can use it going forward? Because the whole point of these types of initiatives is to help us cope better, generate ideas, and hopefully feel more positive because we can't change the situations. We know that. So how do you think we can use this information in your life or sharing with others?
I think we can also, in terms of carers, try not to be too judgmental, like when we have to go in. So the woman work hard enough to change what she knows, because they have to think about the issues, what got onto that decision. Because it's like they abandon them in the hospital. People don't abandon their relatives in the hospital. It's a last resort. Right? It's a last resort.
I had a friend, she was caring for her mother, really driving her insane. I thought, maybe she was insane anyway, but she used to work at the psychiatric hospital. But anyway, her mother took ill, and she had to take her to the hospital. And the doctor then said she had to take her home. I think she lost it. She said she lost it, she took off, running to the hospital, and the nurses, everybody running behind her, you know, come and get your mother. But she just couldn't cope with it anymore. And it's only when she got outside and she went home, you know, in a panic, you know, like she was just trying to get away from this whole thing. And she was able to settle down, think about it, and then work about getting her mother out and getting her somewhere. But it's like, she just had to get away from it. You know, it's just that, not that she wanted to abandon her there, but it's just like it was just too much.
Much. So it's about, I guess, forgiving ourselves. I think, as Chandler mentioned, it's easy to sit and judge someone until you're in the situation. You just don't know what each day will bring. We know our limits. So each person makes their own decision and we respect it. And now you have a comment and so Rondela and Sophie.
I think people should be aware of this because so that they know how to deal with situation or something. So I think this is education really important for them.
Good. Thank you for being a part of it as well.
The first time I heard about Alzheimer's was in the 80s. I was a teenager, and my grandmother and my father's mother was diagnosed with it. And I remember doing some research because nobody ever heard that word in the first place. And my grandmother, one of the things the doctor told us was that she will remember things that happened 40, 50 years ago. But if you just fed her, she would not remember that she just ate. And just as in the play, my grandmother, I would get up in the morning, my mother would make breakfast and thing and feed her, and my grandmother would sit there and say, oh God, I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry, or they starving, I'm hungry. And then she will sit and then tell you about what happened in World War II. That, you know, the planes used to pass, and her mother had to throw her in the ravine and dive over her, to, you know, in the bombing and all of that. Just as if it was yesterday, right? And her son, which was my father, he used to get very upset, right? Because you will have her inside, bathe and dress and clean and everything. And next thing you hear, you know, you leave and you go in the kitchen to do something, and the phone rings and somebody says, I just see your grandmother going down the road. By the time you get down the road, I mean, she is like twice the way down the road, right? And my father used to say, look, leave her alone. When she died, I will bury her, right? Well, he was in total denial that anything was wrong. And one of the things that people have to know is that, yes, it's dementia, but Alzheimer's is like twice harder than the Alzheimer's because of all the little things that they will do on us. They will play. It's how do they get out of the house? Sometimes you love the house, they keep her in. And I remember my grandmother, we left her inside, and again she is down the road. And when we did open the door, she lifted up the floorboards and went she went through the flooring and crawled under the cellar and got out and was down the road again. Where they got the strength from, freedom, you know, and or she will stand by the window and shout to somebody, they're trying to kill me, they're trying to kill me, you know. But it is something very difficult, and if you don't have help, if it is you alone, and mind you, I have 5 other siblings, but it was just my mother and I, because one morning my mother gave my sister breakfast to give my grandmother. She flung it away, then she started to say that she is so hungry and decided to go on the ground and start eating off the ground. And my sister said, not me again, I am not doing that. And that is it. So you need help from people, and you need help from the neighborhood, you know, for them to know, okay, she's suffering from this. So if you see her going down the road, just call. and somebody will think, because sometimes you don't know when they get out of the house.
All right, any other comments or questions? I have a question.
It's real rough, right? I don't want to eat.
They're not already. And you can't force it, and you can't reason with it. You just leave it and hope for the best that tomorrow be something else, because it will be. Not every day, don't, you know, you're saying like every day don't be the same. That, with Alzheimer's, that is depending on what stage they're in. So basically you can't, you go into whichever mindset. If barfing, at some point barfing is an issue for some of the patients, that they don't want to be. You obviously can't drag them up and push them in. Whatever.
So I want to say thank you to everyone for attending, and I hope everyone got a copy of the definition. Probably family health care at the library, the reference document. So it just gives an outline of the symptoms, diagnosis, and also treatment. So I think information helps us to feel more empowered. We don't feel so hopeless when we know a little bit more about something. And the last paragraph, it mentions what we've been discussing. It mentions that eventually full-time care would probably be necessary, either at home or in the nursing home. So some advice that I received took to heart is that start planning now. While the person is lucid or something, sit down and ask them, what would you like done? And that will help to alleviate some of the guilt later, if you know that you're respecting their wishes. Another experience shared with me is that when your mother was diagnosed, this lady was actually a nurse herself, and she was diagnosed a few years ago. They asked her, well, what would you like done? She said, I want to stay in my house and I want my daughter to take care of it. And they made financial provision for that. And she had a nursing care come in a couple of days a week and then care for her until she died. So preparation as early as possible, set aside the funds, and know what kind of care is available so that when it does happen, you're back to care. And it says caring for the person is often stressful, and you will need practical and emotional support. And I find in Barbados, many people don't know of all of the avenues that have the support. We have the polyclinics, the library has information. If we don't have it, we will try to find it. That's what we're here for. So avail yourself of everything that's there to help. And it mentions again, support groups can help people cope for caring with an elderly relative. So you find strength with others. Okay, and the survival rate, it gives 5 to 10 years. So that's a long time caring for someone. It's a lifetime in a way. So I encourage everybody to take the opportunity now to read we all get older. And or if our family members are certain age, sit down and have that discussion in a meaningful way. Okay? So once again, I really want to thank everyone. I know you're all very busy people and have a lot of effort in traffic and so on. But thank you for being here. I really enjoyed having you and the comments, and hopefully we'll be able to have an archive of it that other people, maybe next year, we can show the video and have another discussion as well. Okay, maybe bring in some others, other professionals that can share some experience. Okay, so thank you all very much.
We must mention the Alzheimer's Association.
Oh, yes.
So they had a excellent job.
Excellent job. Actually, there was another event today. I mentioned it to some of our patrons at this Gran Hotel, the Alzheimer's Association. They had their seminar. We actually have, I was able to find some of the statistics that they used at the last conference. So what I could probably is send it out in an email. If you're interested in the statistics from the last conference, I'll be able to send that. And if anything else becomes available, I'll send it to you through email to the Kiwanis. Okay, and we have some light refreshment for those of you who can stay. So we hope that you're able to continue to talk and share information. Thanks very much. Oh, and we also want to thank our library attendant for this wonderful set. Very small.
Do you want to